Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for IDW's Sonic the Hedgehog issue 42. When we last left our heroes, it was time for more of the Zeti, a decision I know everyone is super happy with. I'm not super anti-Zeti as a lot of people are, so I'm mostly on board for this. We see Zavok, after having escaped from everything that happened at the end of Bad Guys, sort of runs into Zaz, I think is the first one he meets, just kind of slinking away in Riverside, and Zomom captured in Vista View, and the group sort of lays waste to all of those towns. He then runs into Zik, who found out that he was alive from Eggman and Sonic, and gathered Xena and Zor, and they kind of lay a trick for the Resistance, Restoration, I mean. That they're attacking the towns where they were defeated. So they attack a third town where one of them was defeated, so that the Restoration will assume they will attack one of the two other towns, but instead they will circle back to Restoration HQ. So Sonic is in Winterburg waiting for an attack there. The Chaotix are headed to another town. I forget which one they're going to. But unbeknownst to them, the Deadly Six are on their way to headquarters. So with that, let's dive right on in. Our picture here, our cover is of Jewel, being kind of protected by what looks like Tangle and Whisper, but it's in such close-up I can't quite make out any details of them. Presumably from the Deadly Six's attack. That's probably going to be the focus of this issue. We have our story so far, of Zavok kind of making his plans with that one Egg Knight he slinked off on. Zik giving him the idea to go for the Restoration instead of mindless chaos. Zavok making his kind of feint plan. And the Deadly Six marching to start their revenge. Got our roll call: Sonic, Tails, Jewel, Belle, the Deadly Six, the Chaotix, and Dr. Starline, who we've not seen since Chow Races and Badnik Bases. Also, Belle wasn't really an active character last issue, so she'll also apparently be kind of a focus in this issue. But again, most interesting is that Starline is kind of back into play, especially because last time we saw him, I think it was he kind of got some fur off of Tails and was using it for something. And I'm curious if we'll get to see more of that this issue, or if that will be saved for a later date. Anyway, we open with with Jewel talking to Chaotix. Thank you all for responding so quickly. Allow me to bring everyone up to speed. The Chaotix have assembled in Sunset City. So that's where they are, Sunset City. And the three of them are all kind of like squeezed into the video frame. Charmy calls, "Hi, Jewel." Tails joins us from his workshop in Central City. And Sonic is in Winterburg, which he reached in record time. Because Sonic, of course, was already in Winterburg. But he's just kind of chilling with a cup of like hot cocoa. It's what I do. And Jewel calls Vector, "If you'd kindly brief us." And Vector just sort of grabs the screen and yells, "Jewel, hi, can you see me?" So the Deadly Six have been attacking towns. We figured out they're all places they tried to control during the metal virus outbreak. And Charmy just kind of, that first line is Charmy, kind of, that Jewel, hi, can you see me? To which Jewel responds, "Yes, Charmy, hello." And Charmy's just like over the moon at that. Charmy's adorable, and I love him. Anyway, Vector continues, "Having reduced their pattern of attacks, I set up an ambush for them. We'll be waiting for them here, while Sonic is waiting at the other targeted town." And Sonic is just like on the couch, in a blanket, drinking his cocoa, chilling out with a promise of adventure. Life doesn't get better than that. And then Vector continues, "Meanwhile, Tails is in Central City, because it's, well, central. Take it away, little buddy." And Tails, who in this time is in that kind of like welder's helmet that's kind of like leaned on his head, and like some kind of a smithing apron is my guess. Whoops, that's my cue, and he leans over for some tools. I knew we'd have to deal with the Deadly Six eventually, so I've been workshopping some options. And he pulls up with his latest invention, what looks like a mine or something. I present to you the Zeti Zapper. I built them by reverse engineering Zavok's Chaos Emerald Siphon. They'll turn their own electromagnetic powers against them, harmlessly disabling them for capture and transport. So it seems like you just slap it on a member of the Deadly Six, and then they can't really use their powers. It's a little bit questionable if that's all it does. Like, if it just makes their powers unworkable, I mean, Zavok is still kind of just has, like, brute strength, and he can just rip it off. But maybe it, like, turns their electromagnetism back on them, like, electrocuting them until they can be safely transported away. I don't know. Either way, it's a simple plan to kind of defeat the Deadly Six, especially with Sonic. So you can just kind of run and place it on them before they can see anything. Though, that will kind of be a problem when they don't show up in Winterburg, they show up at Restoration HQ. Anyway, harmlessly disabling them for capture and transport aboard the Zeti launcher. It will automatically return them to Lost Hex, where they won't be able to bother anyone. So there's sort of a question that just my lack of experience with Lost World makes a bit of a question, is that Starline had to warp there. So part of me kind of figured maybe Lost Hex was another dimension, but maybe it's just another planet, because Tails is sort of flying them up into space with the Zeti launcher. Which again, presuming they can't work the Zeti launcher on their own when they get back to Lost Hex, is a good enough plan. Anyway, Jewel kind of notes, what if they remove the zappers mid-flight? Couldn't they take control of the rocket? I'm glad we're bringing that point up, because it's pretty important. I've built safeguards against all that. The hardest part will be taking them down. And Sonic tells her, you can trust in Tails' tech, Jewel. Alright, I'll keep everyone updated hourly. Relax, Jewel, it'll be fine. And Sonic sort of sips on his cocoa and thinks, I'll make sure of that. I just finished saving this town from Eggman. I'm not about to let those jerks tear it down. And he looks outside and he sees people, like, playing in the snow. The Restoration has worked so hard to rebuild. I think everyone wants to forget the metal virus was even a thing. Like we all woke up from a bad dream. But that's hard to do with Zavok's crew causing havoc and Eggman up to his usual mess. All I need now is for the Babylon Rogues to show up. Or worse. So that's actually a bit of a question, because the Babylon Rogues kind of ended up as allies to the gang during the Metal Virus saga. And maybe that was a bit more of an alliance of convenience, that, like, we're just as under threat from the virus as y'all are. So until such time as the virus is over, we'll work with y'all. And I have to go back and reread those issues to sort of double check that. But I do like this sort of look that Sonic has. You know, looking out and talking about how the world is dealing with, you know, the world-ending events of the past couple of years, real-world time. That, like, the world just kind of wants this all to have been a bad dream. And so they're going to keep acting like nothing happened. But that doesn't mean that nothing happened. It's just sort of a survival technique. Which is a nice little detail there. Anyway, all I need now is for the Babylon Rogues to show up, or worse, that Eggman Giga fanboy, Starline. And we say that because now we're back with Starline. At the Emeraldville Ruins, which, as I recall, is where HQ is. Right? Because that's the shed from Silver's story in the first annual that turned out to be the secret entrance to New HQ. And he's kind of slinking around. I consider patience one of my virtues, but even I have my limits. I have work to do. Though also, Starline is now at HQ right as the Deadly Six are marching towards HQ. That could be a fun re-encounter. But anyway, Starline flashes back to his quick little fight with Belle from the end of Chow Races and Badnik Bases. Well, the encounter was brief and disarming. I couldn't help but take note of the Badnik among Sonic's friends. The construction was unorthodox, but undeniably Eggman quality. Perhaps built during his Tinker period? And he's kind of referred to as the Giga fanboy by Sonic. And that pose really sells it. Like, his feelings towards Eggman are a little strained at the moment. But that was always kind of tied to Eggman's sort of perceived carelessness by Starline. Eggman's mechanical genius is something that Starline is still just all for. And he is giddy just thinking about Belle. Such a unique creation, unlike anything else of his. All of the insights and nuances I could obtain by studying them. If only I could acquire them, which I can't, because they're stashed in Restoration HQ, which I can't access either. Which could explain how Belle will kind of factor in. Because as the Deadly Six show up, and destroy the entrance to HQ and, leave that opening, that could allow Starline to kind of sneak in and have some kind of encounter with Belle. My Tricore would be powerful enough to storm the facility, but that's Dr. Eggman style, not mine. I'm trying to be better. My hypnotic tools only got me into the prison because I wasn't known to security. I should assume I'd be identified on sight here. That trying to be better, though, I'm going to assume is more stealthy and, less likely to get caught, and not some kind of moral thing, because that would not make a lot of... That was, my first instinct was, wait a second, trying to be better? But I think I was misreading that. No, I need to minimize my contacts. I have seen people enter this shed, but never leave. Perhaps there's a trap door, or... And he, pulls a shovel off of where it's kind of raised. So they're gardening tools kind of set up on hooks there. And a trap door opens. Eureka! But there's no time to celebrate. I must be exceedingly cautious. I didn't have the luxury of establishing any kind of distraction. Oh, I know what's right about to happen. Restoration HQ, main entrance, a flaming truck head towards the front gate. The guard notices it. Holy! And then it explodes, and the Deadly Six emerge, ready to start their invasion. Perfect timing for Starline. And Starline kind of looks around, or not Starline, Zavok looks around, as the Restoration is all kind of scared at the Zeti just walking on in. I think this is actually Xena's line. This is what they built for themselves? And Zaz's ready to go. Where do we start? Give me a target, any target! And Zavok tells him, tear it down. Tear it all down. And Zaz just goes wild, shattering a window. Woohoo, yeah! Zomom, lifts open a cart and just starts, chugging the food. Give me all the toppings, all the flavors! And a couple of Restoration members run. What are those? Shh, they won't find us here. And we see Zor, I think is the emo one, kind of looming above them, ready to strike. And Zik calls, prepare for battle! Their defenses have arrived! And we see two Restoration members with Wispons attacking them. Xena kind of, runs in between them and whacks them, dropping their Wispons. And Zavok calls, everyone, to me. We will fight their soldiers as one. And the whole group, gets together to fight. But nothing happens immediately. And so Zavok calls to Zik. Where are the rest? Are they lying in wait? And Zik kind of laughs. Heh. No, I think that's all there is. I don't understand. The people of this world cherish peace. They live in complacent harmony, only disturbed by Eggman's occasional fit of madness. On those occasions, they rely on their heroes. Otherwise, they see no need to prepare for violence. So there's sort of a distinct, uncrossable rift between these two worldviews. Is that, the Deadly Six are always ready for this fight. But perhaps to their detriment, the people of this world I'm trying to find the right way to phrase this. The people of this world they have, some precautions against violence, as in, the main cast fighting Eggman, and the couple of guards we see here, but that's kind of it. And given Eggman's tactics, they know when to kind of be ready for him. He's always very sort of loud and announcing his presence, as was sort of the big thing back in the Metal Sonic saga. And that's sort of to their detriment here, with a force that's just ready to go at any time and will just attack without warning. Anyway, Xena presses, then what happens when someone takes their stuff, or picks a fight or whatever? And Zik counters, they simply don't. They are kind and compassionate to each other. Gross. That's gross. I hate how gross that is. But Zavok is not really here for this sort of philosophical debate. Then we march straight to the heart of their operations, and rip it out. And the crew just goes wild. And Starline is hiding behind a crate. Zavok is alive? And here? Now? Starline is not in the mood for this. No. Serenity now. Fear is the mind killer. This, he watches people running from the Deadly Six. Could be a boon, actually. While those monsters terrorize everyone else, I can move about more freely. And he sneaks out of this elevator shaft. It wouldn't do to get caught by anyone, though. I must be swift and attentive. He's right about to get caught. And hope my enemies keep each other occupied. Actually, we then kind of cut to Jewel, Whisper, and Tangle, which takes us to our cover. As Whisper says, doors sealed, in position. We see the doors are locked, and they've got this table set up for Whisper to hide behind while she shoots. And Tangle's ready, hope everyone else is okay. We'll cover you as long as we can. And Jewel kind of calls to the rest of the group. Restoration HQ to the Chaotix, Tails, Sonic, anyone! The Deadly Six are here. And Vector kind of calls in, Charmy actually, but we follow the clues. And Vector corrects him, no, we were baited like a bunch of chumps. We're on our way. And Tails is headed towards the tornado. I'm scrambling with the Zeti zappers now. I'll likely get there first. Sonic, I'll wait and we'll go in together. And then he sees something that concerns him. Sonic? And Sonic has already left Winterberg. So fast we see the Sonic boom, bending the trees as he heads towards HQ, crosses the water. He's just on his way. He's upset. He doesn't like that he was tricked. He doesn't like that HQ is being attacked. He is not... This is more than just a sort of fun fight with Eggman. He is pissed. And Zomom enters into that sort of mechanical room we saw at the start of Test Run. That Belle and a monkey I think we've seen before are hiding behind a box. Grr, no control room and no food. This place sucks. And then Starline pops right in front of them. Right in front of him and hypnotizes him. Then you want to leave and tell the others this room can be ignored. And Zomom, always on board with a little hypnosis. Or not strong enough to resist the hypnosis. Yeah, okay. And Starline's like kind of impressed at himself. That's never worked so well. And the gorilla kind of comes out. Far out, man. You totally saved the day. And Belle tries to stop him. Don't! That's Dr. Starline. He's a bad guy. And we see Starline's like devilish grin there. And the gorilla, but he saved us. And Starline tells him, I can multitask. Hand over the puppet, please. Not a chance. We look after our own, even when they dump a whole oil pan in your face. And Bella's just, I said I was sorry. And then she calls to Starline, what do you want with me? And Starline walks up to her. So you're self-actualizing. Marvelous. Do you go by a model number? Oh, Starline's a little shocked at Belle sort of having an identity beyond just being a badnik that Tail used to fight him. Which I imagine is going to pique his interest even more when she says, I'm Belle. Nice to meet you? And Starline laughs. Splendid. Well, I did get a useful sample from the fracas at the chateau. You left quite the impression on me, physically and metaphorically. I believe you'd be pivotal to completing my current projects. I'm sure you're aware how much I treasure Dr. Eggman's works. You know I will handle you with the utmost respect. So there's that recurring question of Starline's current projects that we don't quite have all the info on. We know he wants something with Tails, like a cloning project, was kind of my impression. And somehow Belle will be pivotal to that in a way we haven't really seen. And the gorilla, whose name I wish I could remember so I could actually call them a name, grabs a wrench and tells Starline, she ain't egg tech, Doc. Now quit harshing our vibe and they try to whack Starline, and Starline dodges the wrench and hits the gorilla with this horn in the the ankle of his shoe. Ow! And the gorilla is knocked unconscious, and Starline kind of gloats. I've given him a dose of toxin. A second round will be the end of him. If we leave right now, I'd be too busy to finish him off. Oh, that's cruel. That's like, the only way to save him is coming with me. And that gets Belle on his side really fast. Don't hurt him. I'll come quietly. And she calls back to the gorilla. I'm sorry. This way, Miss Belle. And then we see Sonic, who has finally arrived at HQ. He takes a sec to talk with the guard and dashes on in. Just as Starline is taking Belle up the elevator, Sonic rushes past them. Will he have seen them or will he not? And we see Starline getting angry. Why is the blasted elevator out of service? I guess the monsters cut a power line. Oh no, this is Belle. I guess the monsters cut a power line. Oh well, I'll leave you to your escape. Have a nice day. But that doesn't work for a second. As Starline just grabs her and touches the tricore. If his normal stealth is not going to work, he's just going to fly out of here. Which he does. He flies up the elevator shaft and out into the shed, taking Belle. And then we come back to the Deadly Six right outside of the room where Jewel is holding up in. Zomom punches the door. There's a little bit of a gap, not a whole lot, which causes Zomom, I made a little gap. And Zavok kind of like grabs his shoulder. It's the most resistance we've met thus far. But with that little gap, Zavok can kind of get his fingers in the door and start to pull. Such a curious tomb. The living are inside. Let's fix that. But just then, Sonic shows up and starts spin dashing on all of them. They all kind of get hit walls, and go flying in Zik's case. Probably not enough to take them out, but enough to sort of distract them. And Sonic lands and says, "Hey, it jerks. Am I late for the party?" And Zavok stares him down. "No party, Hedgehog, but you're just in time for your funeral." Next time, Sonic versus the Deadly Six. And we have our next month's cover of Sonic kind of wrapped around Zavok's head, kind of trying to beat on him. So yeah, okay, that's this issue. And I had a lot of fun with it, I will say. I imagine that, like, even the anti-Zeti people will definitely have something to like here, because it's not all Zeti. We get Starline kind of making his way back into the main story, as his kind of attempts to sort of kidnap Belle just so happen to coincide with the Deadly Six's attack, which is a stroke of luck on his part. I could kind of call it a bit of a contrivance, but it's not really a big deal. And it works. It works to add a different dimension to the stakes. Whereas the Deadly Six, you just kind of have to fight them, and as soon as Tails gets here with the Zeti Zappers, Sonic Sonic is specifically well equipped to kind of slam them all on the Deadly Six before they have a chance to do anything, thanks to his speed. The Deadly Six might not really be the final kind of threat of the Zeti Hunt arc, despite its name. As soon as Tails arrives, it shouldn't be too hard for next issue for Sonic to kind of wrap up this plot line. The real question then is, or not really a question, I think what that leads to is that the climax of the arc is more focused on Starline and Belle. Kind of setting up Belle as one of the main sort of characters of this new era of the comic. Even if this is an Ian Flynn written arc, it has been announced that as soon as this arc is over in 44, Evan Stanley will kind of come back to her head writer position for what's supposed to be like the build up to 50. But yeah, so again, the Zeti might sort of be out a lot sooner than I think we figured, or at least an issue sooner than we figured. It's definitely an interesting take, and also it might not quite be right. But I could see next issue being largely focused on dealing with the Deadly Six, and then that battle is kind of over. And then they realize, oh, Belle's gone, and they have to find Belle in part 4, maybe? Though also I could see the Deadly Six fight taking the next two issues, and then it's like, oh, the battle's over, where's Belle? And that's the next arc, as we kind of build up to 50. Especially since Belle does very much kind of feel like Evan Stanley's baby more than Ian Flynn's. But yeah, there's a lot to like here. Beyond just sort of the kind of wrinkle Starline throws into the plot, there's also this great moment of Sonic's just like anger and frustration at realizing he's been duped. We get a little bit of work with our gorilla friend. I'm going to see if I can like find his name, because I don't remember it. It's just the orangutan volunteer is all that the wiki has to say. So, don't know what his name is. But still, I like him. I like that he's sort of out here protecting Belle, even if Belle was like, kinda dumped that whole oil pan in his face a while back. He's still very protective of Belle, and his defeat and his potential death is what leads Belle to kind of agree to go with Starline. So we see how much Belle is really growing to care about the members of the Restoration. But Starline makes his getaway, Sonic is here for a fight, and all of that will kind of blow up next issue as Sonic is finally here to fight the Deadly Six. Hopefully Tails will get here before too long to help him out. But yeah, all in all, it's a really, really fun issue. Even if you're super, anti-Deadly Six, I'd say. So yeah, I'm gonna leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!